If you're frustrated and confused because you're being told that you should do 30 minutes of strength training or high intensity exercise, plus you should be doing an hour, 3 days a week of some stretching routines, well, guess what? You're not working out efficiently. And today, I want to teach you the top 3 exercises to help you gain strength and flexibility efficiently. Okay, I sat down to think about the top 3 exercises to increase strength and flexibility efficiently. I got to 3 movements that I'm going to teach you today, all right? And these are going to help you stretch and strengthen almost every single area of your body. And I'm also going to teach you a progression to show you how to go from a beginner variation to more intermediate and more advanced variations. If all you do is use these 3 exercises 3 days per week, then guess what? You're going to gain strength and flexibility, and your body is going to love you for it. And this is awesome because the truth is you don't need to do an hour of yoga 3 days a week in order to gain flexibility. Instead, you need to understand the areas of your body that are often tight, and you need to be able to do movements that encourage flexibility. And those movements can actually be movements that encourage both flexibility and strength. And likewise, if you're just doing strength training or you're hitting the machines, you're doing that for 30 minutes to an hour, 3 days a week as well, you're just wasting a lot of time. Because these movements are going to help you gain strength and flexibility at the same time, which is the best way to train if you want your body to feel amazing. So let me teach you each one of these 3 movements, give them a shot for yourself, and watch as your body gets stronger and flexible fast. Okay, this first move is the reverse lunge. And I want to describe to you why this is so important. This one move gives you the same hip opening effect as dropping into the bottom of a squat and opening the hips. It gives you the same glute effect of doing things like squats. It gives you the same quad strengthening effect of doing things like leg raises and leg extensions, as well as doing things like squats at the same time. And it opens up your hip flexors and hamstrings all in one movement. So if you're a complete beginner, here's where you start with the reverse lunge. And you can even use a chair for support if you need to. But start at the front of your mat. Make sure your toes are pointing straight forward. And if you want to get the maximum flexibility out of this, you want to take the biggest step backwards. So we're going to do this. Shift the weight to one foot, take the biggest step backwards, bring that foot back. You'll notice something important. I didn't bring my foot back into the same alignment as that foot because that would bring me into a balancing position like this. That's not what I'm after here. So imagine your feet are on 2 lines like this, or like almost on a pair of skis, and you just slide that foot straight back like that as far as you can. Now, once you're in this position, you want to push the butt back, bow forward from the hips, start to bend this back knee, come down as deep as you can. If you can kiss your knee to the ground, stand back up, extend the hips like this. So you see the whole time I'm keeping my body forward, so it's becoming more of a glute and a hamstring exercise, okay? As I come down, as I come back up, and I'm almost standing up as if I'm going to take a step forward, like I'm walking forward. Again, that's gonna emphasize the glutes and the hamstrings as you do this movement. And you're just gonna alternate sides like that. Inhaling as you go down, coming down as deep as you can, and coming back up. Now, if this is way too hard for you, don't worry about it. This is already dipping into more of an intermediate move. So if you're a beginner, it could just look like this. Shift the weight back, and step forward. You don't even bend that back leg. Shift the weight back, and step forward. And you'll feel all those things stretching at the same time. And over time, the first step is, can I step far enough back to bring my knee to the ground and back up, just like this, okay? Over time, we'll be able to do this with a little bit more ease, and then you can even lengthen your stance even more, or if you want, you can allow your knee to come more forward over your toes, which is gonna drop your hips even lower, looking like this. So I step back super deep, and as I come down, I'm gonna let that knee come forward in the toes. I'm almost into a position where my legs are fully spread out right here. I'm strengthening the quads, the glutes, I'm stretching the ankle, the hip flexors, the hamstrings, all at the same time, right? So doing a deeper position like this, letting the knee come more forward can be fantastic for stretching the whole body. So over time, as you practice this movement, you can descend deeper and deeper and deeper. And you only have to do about 20 reps of this, so 10 reps each side for 3 to 5 rounds to get an amazing workout for your lower body that stretches and strengthens all the muscles of your lower body at the same time. All right, this next move is gonna stretch your hip flexors, strengthen your core, strengthen your quads, strengthen your glutes, open up your chest, help the muscles between your shoulder blades fire as well to improve your posture, and so much more. And again, I'm gonna show you a progression. So the beginner variation of this is starting in a bridge position, but you'll see where we end up, and that's where we get the magic of this movement, okay? So you're gonna start in a bridge, and you're going to lay down, bring your feet underneath your hips like this with toes facing straight forward. You're gonna drop your shoulders away from your ears and turn your palms toward the sky. This is important, and this is gonna be really important as we go to more challenging variations. Now the first step is teaching yourself how to squeeze and fire your glutes. So if all you do is this, tuck your pelvis, imagine pointing your tailbone towards the sky like this, and squeeze the glutes, and then come back down. This is like our super beginner step, okay? Driving the heels in the ground, making sure our feet are pressed into the ground the whole time, okay? Now, if you can do that easily, then we're gonna squeeze the glutes and lift the hips nice and high, and really feel the glutes and the hip flexors stretching in this position, okay? And again, we're working towards doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 or so of these for 3 to 5 rounds, okay? Now, if this becomes easy, we can start to work on bringing our fingertips towards our heels. So what that looks like is this. I lift up, I might walk my shoulder blades this way. I'll see if I can touch my heels just like this. And in this position, I'll come down. I might not bring my butt all the way down to the ground because of flexibility restrictions, but I can extend the hips all the way up, come halfway down, and just repeat like this. Really extending the hips, strengthening the glutes, and getting that stretch through the hip flexors and the quads all at the same time. Now, if you can do this where you can touch your ankles, now it's time to shift positions. And again, this is where the magic begins to happen. So when we shift the position, you come into a kneeling position on the ground just like this. If you need to, especially if you have knees that are uncomfortable, grab a pillow and put the pillow underneath your knees just like this. This can help support the knees, make the kneecaps feel better. This shouldn't be a move where you feel discomfort on your knees. This should be a move where you feel discomfort in the muscles across the front side of your body as you do this movement, okay? So now you can see, imagine I'm in a bridge position right here, only I'm rotated up 90 degrees. So the first step is to do back bends with our hands underneath our lower back. So the glutes get squeezed, our hands get pressed in the lower back, our elbows pull together like this. We lift our chest and face toward the sky, and we do a little back bend like this, and then we come back up to the start position. So now you can start to feel, not only am I stretching all these muscles that come all the way across the front of the body, but I'm strengthening them at the same time, okay? Now, once we get good at this, say we do 10 of these, we feel pretty strong, what we can start to do is see if we can work our hands down to our heels like this into a camel position. And here, what we want to do is little pulses. So we'd extend the hips all the way and then relax a little bit. And extend the hips all the way and then relax a little bit. So now we get the shoulders involved and we're deeply stretching the shoulders, activating the muscles between the shoulder blades, stretching the hip flexors, strengthening the quads and the knees all at the same time. So this could take a while to work up to, but if you practice this move 3 days a week and you consistently go from the glute squeeze to the bridge with your fingertips there, to the back bends all the way into the camel pose, then guess what? You're gonna gain that strength and flexibility really efficiently. Okay, this last and final move stretches and strengthens almost every muscle in your entire body, okay? So I'm gonna take you through a simple progression working up to a move called the Hindu push-up. But we're gonna start with a really beginner variation first. And this is more of a move that's gonna feel like stretching in the beginning. It's gonna feel more like strengthening as you start to ascend up in levels as you get better and better and stronger at this movement. So to start out with, we're gonna do a simple move called the down dog. All you're gonna do is go from a plank position to a down dog position on the back of a chair or countertop or a nice sturdy surface. That's about waist height, okay? So grab onto the chair. The big thing you wanna focus on when you're doing this movement is to turn the elbow pits towards the sky like this. Don't let the shoulders internally rotate like this, because then you'll just be stretching the shoulder capsule rather than the muscles through the rib cage and underneath the armpits. Now from here, we're gonna get into a plank position. So squeeze the glutes tight. Don't let the butt sag down like this, and don't let the butt stick out like this. Those will put pressure on your lower back. We don't want that. So squeeze the glutes nice and tight. Now from there, you're gonna push the butt back, push the hands forward, and allow your body to drop like this, imagining somebody's pulling down on your sternum, like a weight's attached to your sternum, and then come back up to the top position, squeeze the glutes. And you're just going back and forth like this, okay? This is a beginner variation, so we're working the core, we're opening the shoulders, we're strengthening the shoulders, the lats, all the muscles in the upper body, and getting that hamstring stretch as we push our butt back right here, okay? Once you feel good at that move, so you can do that move for 10 repetitions, it feels great, you've got enough flexibility to bring your head between your arms. Now we can lower the surface and do a low chair version of this, then we'll add a little bit of an upward extension, okay? So this is what I mean. I tend to tell people to grab the outside of the chair like this. The reason why is if we have tight wrists and we put our hands flat, you get this 90-degree angle of the wrist, and a lot of people can't do that. But if you grab the outside, you can see that angle changes to about 45 degrees, so it makes it a lot easier on people's wrists, okay? So again, plank position, squeeze the glutes. This time we're gonna push the butt back, drop the chest down, and then as we come to the plank position right here, we're gonna squeeze the glutes, and we are gonna allow the hips to come down and the chest to come up just a little bit. And we're gonna stretch the hip flexors, the core, and strengthen at the same time. So we're inhaling, exhaling here, inhaling here. Exhaling here as we fold forward, inhaling as we look up at the sky. Just like this, back and forth, okay? Now, if that starts to feel easy for you, then we can take the chair away And we could bring it all the way down to the floor, doing an upward dog and a downward dog back and forth. Again, stretching and strengthening like almost every muscle in our entire body. So coming back to that downward dog position, this time we're gonna bring our feet backwards a little bit more, and we're gonna push our butt up towards the sky and try to drop our chest towards our toes this time. Come into that downward dog position, feeling that stretch through the hamstrings and the shoulders. And then back to the plank, squeeze the glutes, turn those elbow pits forward, and then pull the shoulder blades back and look up at the sky. If you need to, you can even drop your knees in this position and really open up the hips, the lower back, and the upper back all at the same time. And then you're gonna go back and forth. Again, we're gonna exhale here. We're gonna inhale as we look up at the sky and just go back and forth in a slow and controlled fashion. Now, the last part of this, which adds a lot more strength to the upper body, is adding a push-up in as you come through the downward dog into the upward dog. So at first, you can do just a minimal elbow bend, and then over time, you can do a bigger and bigger elbow bend, making this more and more challenging on the upper body. So here's what that looks like. Coming in that downward dog, if you're just a beginner, you can bend the elbows a little bit. Imagine like you're trying to trace your nose right above the ground. And then as you get to this position, squeeze the glutes, drop the glutes, and then extend the elbows again and come back to this upward dog position. And then we don't bend them again. We just push our shoulders forward, come back to the downward dog position. If we start to get more advanced, the goal is, can we bring our face close to the ground? Can we drag our face close to the ground? Come down to this low push-up position, squeeze the glutes, and then come up to that upward dog position. So you can see, if we could do this movement right here, we're getting tons of strength and tons of flexibility all at the same time in a very efficient manner. So make sure you practice all 3 of these moves, ideally 3 days a week, because you're gonna gain strength and flexibility fast. Hey, if you're not sure which variation of each one of these exercises you should be doing, let us take the guesswork out of it and do it for you. Because that's what we do at WeShape. We build personalized at-home workouts using the same progressions and movements that you learned today. If you want to try out for free, all you got to do is click the link below. Otherwise, if you want more efficient ways to gain strength and flexibility, then watch these videos right here. There's a bunch of ways that you can fix pain, gain flexibility, and gain strength super fast.